Hey everybody, welcome here. We've got another great episode today with Ron Nussbaum. He is the founder and CEO of Builder Comms, which is an amazing app to keep communication at a super high level in your contracting business. He's also the host of Construction Champions, How to Be Champions in Construction podcast, wherever podcasts are found, as well as YouTube and probably most social media platforms. So go check him out. Welcome here, Ron. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, and it is exciting to be here.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what was the idea behind Builder Comms? How did that come about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm originally from Akron, Ohio. I went into the Marine Corps and met my wife while I was in the Marine Corps, which landed me in Michigan. I wasn't planning on going back to Ohio, and I actually ended up farther north than what I started out, believe it or not. But that took me into residential construction. When I got in the Marine Corps, I was looking for what's that transition look like? And I fell into construction and I loved it. I've done everything from digging the hose to running the companies. So when I say that, I mean labor to a foreman to field supervisor to production management, operations management, and just leadership and management. And then I also did some time in sales as well to just, round the whole thing out.
Awesome.
But it was amazing. I loved it. We grew the company, and then I ended up going out and creating software for the construction industry. Go figure, where I come from, and it's all for communication, man. Escalated customers. The number one problem in residential construction is communication, and I felt like it is time that we fix that and we take it head on. It's something that we just kind of always put to the background and say, hey, we're growing, we're really busy, it's positive. That's why our communication is lacking. And I just don't feel like that's a legit excuse. And all the text messages and emails it's too overwhelming. We just, as an industry, need a simple solution that fixes it. And I just decided that I'm the guy that's going to do that. So that is how I got here and why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Awesome. Love the vision. And yeah, it's a problem for every contractor, every construction business owner for sure, is keeping track of all the communication. Everyone's got their own apps and ways that they communicate or don't communicate. So good on you for creating one platform that can handle all that. So obviously communication is an issue and something to be thought about in the construction setting. What issues do you find stem from poor communication? Like what's the result of not having good communication in a company and in the industry?
So we can look at it from two different ways. We can look at it from the company perspective of what does it actually do to your bottom line, your employee experience. It's reported that 35% of times lost on projects, and most of that can be accredited to communication breakdowns. What kind of experience does that deliver for your employees? Or you say your crew that's sitting on the job site waiting to do work, and then what does that do for your bank account at the end of the day? That's the business aspect of what communication can do. I mean, it can just wreak havoc on your bottom line and your employees. And from a customer perspective, it's their number one complaint. 70% of customers that have complaints when it comes to a construction project are communication related. It's never really the guys, it's never really the work that gets messed up. It's the expectations and the communication that happens during the project. And that hinders refers, it hinders repeat business. And what it really hinders is your business as you continue to grow it. What we find is guys think they're communicating well. I used to think we were great communicators, but we weren't. And it costs you work that you don't even know it's costing you. So you deliver a great experience, but the communication sucked. That homeowner doesn't necessarily tell you that. What they do is they tell their friends and family or anybody else out there that, hey, it was great work, but I didn't really care for the communication. I would probably find somebody else. So then that leaves that contractor or builder not even knowing that this subpar experience is happening. And then that leads to less work coming in the door. And that's not what we want. What we want to do is we want to create an environment where you create repeat customers, where they refer you, bring more work to you because they were so blown away with how how you communicated with them and kept them in the loop.
Yeah. Yeah. I've found even like when things don't go well, good communication and just having that conversation can really smooth out some of those rough patches and actually be a positive almost in the concept of the contractor. Because, yeah, something bad happened or this got messed up, but you tell them right away. And there's a process and like, an app or whatever that facilitates that it can almost be like they trust you more, right? Because like, even though something did happen, they called me right away. They let me know what the implications were. And, we got through it, even though it took more time or cost more money or whatever. So
yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. And customers, that's what they want, is they want to have that open line of communication.
Yeah, definitely. So a big one for clients is they can't get a hold of the contractor, or maybe the contractor can't get a hold of the tradespeople. Where's that plumber, electrician, or framer, or whoever that said he was going to be here at 7 and now it's 10 and whatever, can't get a hold of them. So how does BuilderCom help solve those kind of issues of connecting with people and keeping communication channels open?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. And actually, my very first customer, this was one of the reasons why he chose to do business with us. He was doing high-end remodelers, if I can speak here today, and he was having a hard time getting a response from his customers. And he's like, Ron, I feel like I'm a great communicator. I feel like I'm putting my best foot forward, but the customers aren't participating in that. And what we built is our software is completely web-based for you as the contractor and builder, but we have an app that the homeowner downloads. And with that comes push notifications. So how he was able to leverage it for his customers is to say, hey, when that notification comes through on the BuilderComs app, it's because I have a question that is about your project. I'm not one of your buddies reaching out wanting to have drinks after work. This is information I need to know. So if you could, in a timely fashion, respond back to me throughout the day when you see that notification go off. And as soon as he implemented it, he immediately saw a change. His customers started getting back to them because they had clarity on, hey, this is how we're going to communicate. And this is what it means when this happens. So then homeowners would start reaching out. So it upped his communication game. He was able to get those answers. Delays stopped happening because he was owner is we have channels of communication in there. So that homeowner always feels like they don't know who to reach out to. One of the things is the industry standard is, hey, sorry, I'm not the person. Let me get them and I will get back. And that's where the ball gets dropped. Mm-hmm. So within our platform, we make sure that customer is always reaching out to the right person, or at least feels like they are. So even if you're a one-man operation or 100-person operation, we make that customer feel like if they have a scheduling question, they're reaching out to the person that's in charge of that schedule. They're not reaching out to Mary, the receptionist. So they're not reaching out to the sales rep who's probably on to the next project by then and doesn't have the job specific questions. So we help empower that customer to reach out to the right person. And then that creates a timely response because it's no more anybody on either end trying to figure out what should be said, because we're going directly to the right source. So that's how we help with those two aspects of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's unique that when you have a specific channel for communication, like you said, it's not going to be on your text or your WhatsApp or Messenger or whatever, right? That you're going to get everyone else messaging on. When you get a message on, BuilderCom, hey, that's important. It's due to a project. It's, someone needs an answer, has a question or whatever right away. So very good distinction there for sure. So we've all made mistakes before. Can you tell me, a mistake that you've made with a client before, or something with BuilderComs that didn't go quite right? We like to talk about all the things that are awesome, but we learn from mistakes, and a big part of success is improving on things that don't go well. So what's maybe some blunders or mistakes that has come up for you?
Oh, well, I got lists for days throughout my life. I'm just a Marine that was in residential construction and now owns a software company. So my list of mistakes, they rack right on up. I'll say with Builder, we're early stage. So like setting appropriate expectations sometimes can be hard. I ask for some flexibility and some forgiveness as we continue to grow this. And, sometimes it's software. You know what's crazy is everybody says software like goes super fast and all this stuff. And it's like it evolves so fast. And to me, it's the complete opposite. I think I can like fix stuff out in the field faster sometimes in the construction industry than I can fix software, and software would just break. Like sometimes something just happens and it doesn't work. It's just like with your iPhone, or your Android, all of a sudden something's offline or cable goes down. Learning to set the appropriate expectations and just have full transparency when it comes to software, and that everything's going to take longer than what I think it is. So I think one of my biggest mistakes early on was I just figured, like everybody said, software is fast. So I was always like, hey, 24 hours, we'll get that fixed. Well, 2 weeks later, like we're getting something fit. Like I didn't quite understand that. Now I do. So now I can give better expectations when we're working through, say, a bug or something. I know to not just speak out of turn.
Yeah. And that kind of reminds me of construction clients too, where they're not familiar with the building process, and something to them that seems like it should be straightforward and easy, obviously is a lot more, that goes into it, and things take longer, not everything goes as expected. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. So I mean, kind of bounce it back to the previous question a little bit, but managing workers and trades, like herding cats sometimes, guys not showing up or this or that, communication's not always, stellar, obviously. What are like top 3 tips that you have for improving like efficiencies with communication internally, like with employees and tradespeople?
Absolutely. So for one, you have to have a singular platform. Whether you're using Builder Comms or you're using your email or you're using text message, of course, I want you to use Builder Comms because I built it for the construction industry. But you have to just decide this is what we're going to use. Have your team on the same page and have your clients on the same page. It's number one. Once you have number one, you have to put the systems in place behind it. And when I mean systems, not just the how we do this, but the how we talk. And what is that dialogue? You want to make sure different departments are using the same dialogue. You don't want sales and production talking completely different, because not only does that confuse the two parties, it also ends up confusing your customers. So you want to have that singular place where all your communication goes through. You want to have systems in place, and you have to train on it. Once you have the first two, you have to commit to training on it, utilizing it, and making it something that when somebody comes into your company, they can do within a couple of days, because you have the right platform, you have the right systems, and you understand how to train somebody on how to utilize it. Those are the 3 things I tell everybody that will have the most drastic impact on your internal and external communication. If you commit 30 days to figuring those out and then commit 30 days to executing on it, it would change your business forever.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. And I like how each tip builds off the next one. And so important to have that standards of communication, and if that's employee handbook within your training program, because consistency, right? You're going to get people that are going to have various different backgrounds, different ways of communicating, talking. You can call one thing something else, like have 2-3 different people calling one thing, multiple different names. So having some sort of standards definitely is going to improve, communication across your team there. So awesome. Now, before we get further, what's like a big success story that you've had with Builder Comms? Like, what's a client that stands out where they got started on Builder Comms and it made a big, shift change in their business and the way they communicate?
Yeah. So 70% of our users were the first technology they implement, which is really that to me is strange. Like that was something I didn't see coming, but that's where we're at. And I think something that has to do is I built something really simple. It's easy to understand. People are looking for a solution to communication. So all wins stack up fast. Like I talked to clients. I was just on a call with a client the other day, and he was just so excited that he can deliver this experience for his customer, because he wants to use technology, but he was always really intimidated by it. So what we do is the wins that they have is that they can actually use the technology. And I know that sounds crazy. And I mean, I'm not trying to make a sales pitch for myself, but
Mhm.
the real win is that guys within a few days can utilize our technology without a huge learning curve. And they just rock and roll and they get out there and they start creating happy customers with it. And that
Mhm.
excites them, that excites me. And that's really the big win, is that we have a product that customers can use, contractors can use, and it's just intuitive. Like I just built something super simple. I can't stress
Mhm.
that enough. I'm a
Yep.
pretty simple guy when it comes to this stuff. And that's all I did was build something simple that the industry can use
Mhm.
and be implemented. So the big win is that guys can get on there and a lot of times without even talking to me, get up and going and utilize the software how it was meant to be used.
Definitely, simple is good, and that is the difference between some softwares of like these jack of all trades programs that kind of do everything okay, and actually having a specific program to do certain tasks inside a business. It's much more streamlined. It's easier, straightforward. Can do it really well, right? By focusing
Yep.
on one side of a business instead of trying to do everything and anything. So thanks for sharing that. What's the best way for people to connect with you? Learn more about Builder Trend or you and your Construction Champions podcast.
Well, I don't want them to go learn about Builder Trend. I want them to go learn
sorry,
about
sorry,
Builder
sorry. Builder
Comms.
comms. Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
But yeah, so buildercoms, COMS.com
Yeah.
is our website. You can find me on any social media. Feel free to reach out. If you book a demo, you get to talk to me. Like I'm at the front of this right now as we continue to grow it. My goal is to get to know my customers as best as I possibly can. And we're going to build the number one customer communication platform for the construction industry. So I'd love to have anybody that wants to be on board for that on board with me and just reach out.
Perfect. Thanks so much for being on here, Ron, and educating us about communication and construction. Learned a lot and appreciate you being here.
Hey, thank you for having me.